I want to talk this afternoon about our schools. And I know this has been something that teachers, parents, everyone is very, very much interested in. And I have talked in the last few weeks with a number of parents, with a number of teachers, with a number of administrators about this. I've also talked to our Ohio Superintendent of Public Instruction, Paulo, who does such a absolutely great job. He and I have consulted about this. I've also talked with legislators about this. And so let me announce that for the remainder of this school year, our young people will continue to go to school remotely. I want to thank the teachers. I want to thank custodians, all school personnel who just make a difference every single day. The bus drivers, those who work in the lunchroom, everybody, that family that really is a family in each school district, in each school building. I want to thank them for the great job that they have been doing. Thank the teachers. I want to thank the parents as well, because I know the parents have been very, very much involved in this education as it goes forward. Let me explain the reasons for the decision. First, the virus continues. We have flattened the curve, but it remains dangerous. The situation is fluid. We now have 8 or 9 days straight of a fairly straight line in regard to hospitalizations. So that's good news. We'll feel a lot better when it starts going down. But this situation is still very tough. Second, one of the things that have been expressed to me by teachers as well as superintendents is continuity. And to go back to school now with a relatively small amount of time left by a large number of superintendents, principals, others who've expressed to me that probably is not a good idea, even if the health situation was resolved, which obviously it is not. Not only do we have to be concerned about the risk to students, but also, obviously, teachers, and ultimately the risk to the community with a number of kids from a number of families coming together and then going home. We know that statistically that unless a child has a specific medical problem, the fatality rate is exceedingly low among young people. But we also know that young people are carriers. And the reason that the schools were shut before, the physical locations of the school, was because of our concern about people coming in, kids going in, then going back and forth, back into their families, and the spread that occurs because of that. So that issue continues to remain. So those are the reasons that we have made the decision that our young people, K through 12, will continue to go to school as they are remotely and will not go back in the physical building this academic year. Now, as we move forward, because I know that's what, if I was a parent, grandparent, I'd want to know. We've made no decision about the fall yet. We're going to have to see where we're going. I know that parents, teachers, administrators are anxious for a decision about the fall, but we are simply not in a position yet to make that decision. I am happy to say, though, that schools are, in fact, already preparing for the fall. They're thinking about how they would handle the situation if they were back in school, how they would try to do what they could in regard to social distancing and to run the school as well. So I applaud them for that. Many conference calls I had, several this weekend. I was just really impressed and delighted by all the thinking that's going into this already. As our teachers are looking at this, and our administrators are looking at this, and school board members are looking at this. So I would encourage you to continue to plan. We will work very closely with you through the Ohio Department of Education, and I know that contact is going on, every week, and so that will continue. And as we know more information, and as we can share information from experts about the social distancing, we're going to make. So we appreciate the planning that's going on, and I would encourage schools to continue to do that planning. One option that was discussed with me by a number of superintendents and teachers was the possibility, and there's no decision about this obviously, but the possibility of having a blended system this fall. A blended system that might mean some distance learning as well as some in-person learning. Now, that's just a possibility, and also each school district is going to be different. And a school district's ability to successfully do the distance learning, I fully understand, is different from school district to school district and from population to population and families to families. One of the things that I think is very strong about our Ohio school system is it's local. And so as these decisions are made, we're going to allow a great deal of flexibility, as we should, for the local schools, because what they find in their district and how their district looks is very different. Akron City schools are different than the Switzerland school district, and I could go on, example after example. And so these are things that each school district, we're going to give a great deal of flexibility within some broad parameters to ensure safety of young people. Let me share with you, as residents of Ohio, whether you have kids or grandkids or don't have any kids or anybody in school anymore, let me share some of the concerns that I have as we go forward. Safety of the children, safety of families, safety of parents, safety of teachers, obviously, is very, very important. We've talked about that. But as I talk to teachers and as I talk to superintendents, as I talk to parents, I just want to mention different groups of kids who I have particular concerns about when they are not able to be in school the way that we normally have that, and that is physically to be in school. And I want to say before I list some of the kids that I worry about, people are doing an amazing job. Our teachers are doing an amazing job. I mean, everybody has just stepped up and is doing things that they never would have thought they would have had to have done, but they're making the best of a very, very difficult situation. And I'm just impressed every time I talk to teachers, every time I talk to superintendents, of the thought that is going into this and the planning and what teachers are doing now and what parents are doing now and administrators are doing now to bring the best education they can to these kids, to our kids across the state under very difficult and certainly unusual circumstances. But let me, as we plan to the future, let me talk about students that I am particularly worried about, and this is not based on things that I dreamt up. It's based upon what educators are telling me, parents are telling me, teachers are telling me. One, children with special developmental needs. As we go forward, whatever we do in the fall, what we do in the summer, I think that we have to remember these students. Second, children who have health challenges. As we look to go back in the fall, if that's what we end up doing, We have got to figure out how to protect children who have unique health challenges that may make them more susceptible to COVID-19. Not more susceptible to getting it, but the consequences of getting it may be more severe. And so I think we have to think about these kids and figure out how we're going to help them, how we're going to protect them. 3, children with no or limited access to the internet. We find these children sometimes in our cities, we find them sometimes in our rural areas, and it is a challenge. We have over 1 million people in the state of Ohio adults and families who don't have good internet access or no internet access at all. So that remains a challenge. I worry about children who do not have a supportive home life. That is always difficult for kids. It is particularly more difficult when kids are not physically in school every single day. And so again, these 4 groups of children, and there may be many more, but these are the ones that I think that we, as we plan ahead, and we try to think how are we going to have school, educate our kids with a virus that is still out there. I think these are some kids that we need to be particularly concerned about.